Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to obviously another live oh gosh, I'm a bit tongue-tied already today. What is going on? Um, just another interview with the beautiful Steph Borowski.
Brokey, it's okay. It's a fun one.
Sorry. And she is a faith-led mama just like me who is in the online space earning. And today I just really wanted to again interview another woman about how this has transformed her life, her faith, her community, her all the things. And so I'll get you an interview. Oh my gosh, I'm so
So
tongue-tied.
fun.
Having like a day. I'll get you to introduce yourself. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I can take over. I can also probably be in the same headspace as you because I've got so many things going on and sleep hasn't been my best friend lately. So no worries there. I think we can probably all relate to that actually.
Yes, yes.
But yes. My name is Steph and I started in the business 4 years ago. I started building an online business because I really just got to this point of having to ask myself the question, what does God really want for my life? And what does that look like? And even in terms of, what does that mean as how I show up as a mum and a wife to my husband? And so I suppose in like today's world, my husband and I have like a more traditional biblically based relationship, if that makes sense. Like he really leads our home, he's the head of the household. And then I'm really that strong support in the background too, not in the background, but um, and so I was working as a full-time teacher. And so I was really like not, I guess, being able to be who I wanted to be as a mum or as a wife, not being able to show up very well. And I think it kind of hit home for me one day when I really was like yelling at my 15-month-old, which, when you got little ones and you know how old 15 months is, and now that my kids are a lot bigger, I'm like now just mortified because I'm like, that's so tiny, like they're so little when they're that young. Why was I angry? Why was I yelling? But of course, it's like because I was completely strung out, like I was too stretched far too thin, and yeah, had ended up getting really cross about something, of course, super trivial. Um, and just yeah, remember finding myself thinking like, no, this cannot go on. This is not what God designed for my life, or like what it's meant to be, I guess. And so then I just we really quite literally stumbled across this opportunity like so many of us have. But back then it was kind of just a friend of mine had shared something on Facebook that was like the Real Women's Collective. And I think that really ties into how this business can support anything you want to do. So not necessarily like, you know, being the person that leads with a product as much as it is like being able to have this amazing affiliate business that works in the background while you then get to concentrate on what you want to do. So I looked into that. I didn't really understand anything about it. I had no social media presence. I actually really hated social media. I was terrified of it. I was really like, no, this is not, I can't put myself out there. I can't do any of that. Um, so I looked into it. I really liked the products. I wasn't really worried either way. I was just like, as long as I know they're great quality, that's fine. It was really the business model for me. It was the business in a box, here I've got this done for you that just lit my fire. I was like, wow, I can do this from home and like not just for small change, not just because I'm a farmer's wife. Everything money wise is like all in the farm. It's connected to the farm. It's like, if I want an extra big washing machine, I'm kind of going to like all my in-laws involved and be like, can I get this one? And then everyone's got an opinion about that. And it's like, do you really need a 16-kilo washing machine or can you just handle like a normal washing machine? Like we only have a 10-kilo washing machine. So there was this very much going back and forth of like, wow, I really still need, because, obviously as a teacher, I was making pretty good money. And I needed that autonomy still financially, but I didn't want to sacrifice what that, meant I had to give up as a mum and a wife to get that. And so of course, when I looked at this, I was like, no, no, that seems too good to be true. Like you can't make that much money online. That, it must be crazy. It must be a scam, must be a pyramid scheme, or all the things. But yeah, I looked into it further and there was just something. I prayed about it so much and I really think there was lots of head noise. There was a lot of people's opinions going on, but it was really my husband and I in the end that we were just, he was like, I'm fully happy to support you. I really believe that you can go for it and do this. And so I just went for it. And yeah, I mean, and then I can stop. You can
No,
ask it.
I am so blown away because our story is so similar, and that's just so cool. I'm also a teacher. I found
Oh,
myself in the same, like the way, love my job, love being a mum, love all the things, but I was like, this isn't the dream.
yeah.
And finding like, we wanted to expand our family as we have a little 7-month old. And so I was just like, yeah, like I fully get you. And there's so many other women that are in the same place, like working, um, exhausted or wanting to expand their family and knowing like that the whole picture doesn't seem to quite picture.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like we've been set up to fail in that sense. Like I'm so all for women want if they want a career, amazing. But my mum, who was a full-time and still is a full-time nurse, and she was a nurse unit manager. So she was high up in her job. She had a really important job in ICU. She was very like, she said to me, Steph, don't let the world tell you that you can have a full-time career and a family and that one won't suffer. And she said, and the reality is that it will usually be your family because that's who we allow ourselves to be real with. So we do get angry at them. We do put the stress onto them because
Yeah.
of course we wouldn't want to show up at work like that. As a teacher, I can't then be, going off my handle at my class because I'm really stressed, but I can go off my handle at my own children. And so, or my husband, so it's like, yeah, don't, she said to me, that's a lie. It's a lie that we've been told that we can have all of that and that that's the way that it was designed when actually that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like, in other words, they're saying the same thing. Like for me, I felt like, we're supposed to have a job that we don't have kids at home, and then we're supposed to have kids at home that we don't have a job, like it's one or the other. So yeah, that leads to like my second, you kind of answered it, obviously, if you wanted to add anything more, was like the line in the sand moment, was it, really praying to God? Like where did you feel that? Was that, is there anything else that you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, just that realization just of, I grew up as a Christian and so I also as I grew in my own faith, really only in the last few years as a woman in my own right have I sort of really then looked into and studied, like Proverbs 31 and the woman that's doing these things in the way that she conducts herself and lots of other examples in the Bible, but I suppose also I come from a family that fell apart and I think as well that that would have it does have a big impact and still something that's like at the forefront of my mind to be very vigilant about and not become complacent. And so I think this is all part of that. This is like my mum was a career woman, so she wasn't in the home. My dad usually put us to bed or made our breakfast and got it us off to school in the morning, but he also worked full time. So it was like his job was just a bit more flexible so he could. And he would never regret that or anything like that. I'm not saying that dads can't do that. And Josh and I share the load massively.
Yes, yeah,
But I do see an element of separation for both of them because they were both just running at like end of their ropes all the time. So that, that unity wasn't really fostered because they were just flat out trying to survive. So
yes,
I think because of that, because of what I'd been through, I was like, right, I'm going to put a stopper before we get to that point, that so many couples unfortunately seem to get to. And it's just because we now live in a society that has created an absolute like mess of an environment that we're all just trying to like keep our heads above water in.
yes, yeah. And it's like actually so now like a reward if you want to be a stay-at-home mom. Like that's almost like
Yes.
you can't do it. It's very, very difficult. Like you have to do
Yeah.
a lot of sacrifices. And so it's hard because, especially as a Christian woman, we are very much in that traditional sense of being like
Yeah.
to be in the home, right? So that just leads to like my third question, your changes and impact, and what stepping into this business, how's your life and your mindset and your walk with God shifted? What ripple have you seen in your home and your health and your finances and your faith? Kind of,
Yeah. Um, so I think definitely the positive shift of stepping out of being, on edge a lot and just having my nerves kind of just like, very, very highly strung or just that stress. And I was actually talking about this the other day with Alex, who is my business partner. She and I were talking, and she said, like, do you really remember the time where you said, like, this is it, And I was like, there's lots of things like what I've just explained to you. But another thing was I remember driving to work and thinking to myself, it'd be great if I just had like a minor car accident in this, which sounds really messed up, right? But
yeah,
that's how stressed I was. I was just actively trying to think of ways that were serious enough that I had a legitimate reason not to go, but not so serious enough that I'm like not here anymore. But like just, maybe minor broken bone or something where I had to legitimately say I can't be at work for a couple of weeks because the level of stress and anxiety I would feel going into that place it was just getting too much to bear. And so there's the removal of that now. There's that beautiful peace that I have that because I can do this, because I earn really good money from home, that when my children are sick and they need me, I am there always, all the time. I don't have to ask someone for permission. I don't have to, call in and then like cause someone else to be, taken out of their environment, which had organized and I've just messed it up. So there's definitely a piece that's come over me as a woman since doing this. And yeah, I think it's just, you sort of asked about the faith side of it too. For me, what I realized in this business is, and this is kind of where my business partner and I, Alex, when we started making good money and we were like, okay, we've replaced our incomes, now what? Then we were like, okay, what is this really for? Where are we really wanting to take this?
what's the
So,
movement?
yeah, now it's like, okay, we get to have a whole bigger mission. We get to have the privilege of funding something that really can make a difference in the world. And so the shift of like, oh, I just need to paddle to survive, that's what I'm doing here, goes from that, like, oh, I just want to replace my income, which is amazing. Or I just want to be able to support my family or put food on the table. But I think what makes this vehicle different to other things is the earning capacity is just it's uncapped. So
Yeah,
it's just endless. So then, okay, what does that look like when it really starts to get up there? And you deal with the change in taxes and you deal with like, okay, well, how are we going to run this? And we make it a company and we do blah, 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 blah. But then it's like, okay, but like what next? And then all of a sudden we found ourselves going like, oh, okay, like God, use us for something like you want us to do. Like show us what it is that you want us to create with this because now we understand that there's like this way bigger vision, far bigger than we could have ever imagined ourselves.
absolutely. That is so incredible. I love that. Thank you. That kind of leads to my last question is like, what would you say to yourself, um, who was struggling, her faith wasn't as strong as she is today? Like, what would you say to yourself 4 years ago, or to a woman sitting on the fence, that just wants more time with her family, wants to strengthen her faith, wants to have a more, better community and be able to give more and provide more? Because I think that's so natural for a faith-led woman is that we just love to give, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, I think it's so important to distinguish that, like anything in life, this as well, like this business is not the answer to that, to the sort of if you're feeling like lost in your faith or like you just want that more. It's like obviously there's only one answer for that, and that is just to get into the word and read the Bible. But I also have really appreciated the space to be able to do that. And I think the devil works in so many ways, right? And I think that in the world, keeping us busy and keeping us distracted is a perfect way of keeping us away from God.
Yeah.
So I think inevitably by saying yes to this business and then therefore creating this space that I needed, I was very easily able to then fall into that really nicely and just take the time that I need to spend with God because now and I don't want that to sound like an excuse, but I just know what it's like to feel really, really stressed and to really not have any movement around time for yourself or time to sit with God.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen that biggest change in my life. It's just
Yeah.
taking that time back to do the things that matter most. And yeah, so that's absolutely so incredible, Steph. Like I look forward to um what um like from your journey in this space of 4 years. I mean, I've been here for yeah, like coming up to 2 years at the end of the year, and the just the changes that this opportunity has been able to see in the people that I've impacted, let alone my own, is just incredible. And to talk where you say just the movement gets bigger, the dream gets bigger. It's like, what's next? That's just like so incredible.
Yeah, yeah. It's really, really special. And yeah, I think I would just say to anyone who's like not sure is just I know it's scary, but sometimes just saying yes to something that seems a little bit different, a little bit outside the box is just the best thing you could ever do because it wasn't just this business for me. The knock-on effect has been I can't even begin to tell you. It's just like, you drop a rock in the pond and the ripple goes out. And that's what that one decision to say yes to this has done in my life. It's just been the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. It's just been incredible. And when I say I was scared, I just want people to understand, like I was terrified and I stopped for a whole year. I didn't do anything because I'm from a small country town. I was like, everyone's going to judge me. And people did judge me. Absolutely. People like, you're crazy. This is wild. Like, what are you doing? You're a teacher. Why would you give up that career? Blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, so I really understand what it's like to feel scared, but I would say do it anyway. Because people who are doing something different, people who are going places, people who are, thinking outside the box, they're never going to be the ones to tell you you're crazy for doing something and trying something. It's always the people who are like, you know, the Karens of the world. Sorry to the nice Karens, but like the Karens of the world who who yeah, just want to be down on what you're doing because they're not doing anything themselves, I suppose. So they're very happy to, have an opinion about other women trying something new. But the people who are doing it will never judge you for doing it. And so just, it is important um who you do buy your products from. That's another big thing I would say. Like, make sure the person who you're buying your products from is aligned with you. And if you are a faith-led woman, make sure that the woman who come in with is also a faith-led woman because it really makes a big difference. And we've actually had people completely reinvest just to be in our team because it makes such a difference to just the energy of your whole business. So, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Thank you so much. Like, thank you, thank you. Can I just finish on a prayer? Is that all right?
I love that. Yes.
Awesome. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this beautiful connection. Thank you for the words that came out of Steph's mouth and all the things that you gave her today. Thank you for the trials and tribulations along the way that have taught her and impacted other people's lives. Thank you for the decision of her getting out of her comfort zone for the impact that she's made in your name. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. That was so nice.